I would say a couple of things. One, just in the last 10, 15 years, the entrepreneurial interest is fascinating. And especially among your peer and age group, which I applaud. I often say to my old crony friends, these guys got more guts and courage than we did because we went to work for companies that had infrastructure. These guys are willing to go risk. At the same time, we're always overcompensating for the liabilities of our elders. And I think it's typically unconscious. You can illustrate it when a CEO is fired or has a scandal, he or she, that committee will subconsciously overcompensate for the liabilities of the last leader. And I think we all do this. So that's one point. This entrepreneurial thing can become an idol. I want to do my thing. It's my enterprise, my money, my time, my. That's not dismissing entrepreneurship. It's just being aware of it. To more specifically your point, when I think of all this, I think of integrity. To me, the core attribute, the indivisible integer, you can't divide it. Integrity is probably the single most important part of a businessman or woman or pastor or worker in the field who's working an 8 to 5 or more likely a 6 to 6 job, that he or she is a person of integrity, that your word is what you say you're going to do it, that you follow through, that you can be trusted, that you keep a secret, that you don't gossip. When you have a problem, you go say, I can't get this done on time. I was wrong on my projection. I find that very, very rarely, unless a person is just wicked and co-opted, are they going to have a hard time with a person that has integrity. And so to me, whether it's leadership, entrepreneurship, entre-leadership, whether it's, fill in the blank, I'm looking for a man or woman that knows their strengths, their limitations, where they need help. We just started a church recently, and I'm doing things I haven't done in 30 plus years.
I believe it.
Opening a bank account, setting up online, and I'm going, why am I doing this stuff? I never had to do this before. I'm not entrepreneurial. And it struck me the other day when I was fighting with an online bank setup, which should be easy, right? And I was talking to the support, and they go, yeah, we're having a problem with our servers. I go, well, at least it's not my problem, Yeah. But do you have the elasticity to say, I'm going to do some things, but I'm going to do them well, but I'm going to go back to my little steering committee and say, guys, I don't want to do this. This is not the best use of my gift, talent, strength. Don't ask me to be an accountant.
Yeah.
And so I think that integrity is knowing your strengths and liabilities, as well as I need help here, and being unafraid to say, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Can you help me?
Yeah. So when you say wisdom calls us to pay attention to what we're paying attention to, do you say that because it's so easy to just get caught up in the buzz and not be aware of what we're paying attention to? And when you realize how much you're paying attention to just things that really don't matter, that you realize it's a grand waste of your time, or just not a good use of your time. Is that why you're saying that? Pay attention to what you're paying attention to?
And just think of the trend of entrepreneurs. When I was younger, Josie Bass or Jossie Bass, however you pronounce it, that Impriture, all the business books, Bennis, Nanis, Kuzis, Posner, all those guys, the Harvard Business Review guys, that was, my shelf had 120 some leadership books on it when I was in a church in D.C. and Texas, and when I was in Chicago. And I read all those books, the Lencioni books. And what I discovered in that is it was like pastors used to when someone would come on the problem of the marriage. Here's a book you need to read.
Yeah.
Here's a book you need to read. I'm not against that. I'm a reader, but I think what Kurt Thompson, by the way, Dr. Thompson was the one that gave me that line, give credit where credit is due, pay attention to what you're paying attention to. Because whether you're ADD or ADHD or you're too singular focused, it's good to take a breath. And think of when you open your technology, how many apps do you have running?
Yeah, fair bit.
And with OS, those who are in that system, now it's all tied into your screen wherever you are. It's a message, whatever, your social media. I intentionally will have my word processor and my Bible study software as the only two applications going on my machine. because otherwise I'm paying attention to social media. Oh, I got to do that email. I actually have 3x5 cards on my desk. You might see them. That's my to-do list that gets the distraction out of my head. I need to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And then I physically will push it aside because it has a life of its own.
Yeah.
My desk faces a wall, not a window, for a reason. I was squirrel before squirrel was cool. I can be so distracted by text. We work at home. My wife and I both have offices here. She needs something. I need something. So the singularity or compartmentalizing, what do you have to do today? So in business, if you're starting something or you have a problem, it would seem pretty logical and simple to say, what's the big, hairy thing I got to address? And then how do I incrementally tackle that?
Mm-hmm.
I'd much rather email, and I spent an hour this morning emailing a guy with a theological question. I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I literally spent an hour answering his email. Was that a good use of my time? I don't know.
Yeah.
Will he read it? I don't even know that.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. That's a bit of a squirrel. I could have said in very brief, let's have a coffee, but that'll be an hour and a half.
Yep.
And so we're always making these value judgments, the urgent and the important come across our table. To more specifically your question, I think there's so many squirrels and rabbits and birds flying through life right now, especially for young men and women. And we're looking at this next seminar, this next webinar, this next subscription, this next thing. I'm shocked with the number of monthly subscriptions 20 and 30-year-olds have. Streaming music, different apps they're into, different systems they like, different things that support their web. But Squarespace now, I guess, is the new thing. And they just keep bolting on these monthly $9, $8, $7, $10, $15 Sirius in your car. And I'm going, time out. What do you need?
Mm-hmm.
And they're tantalizing.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do this for you, you know? And I think that's a good illustration of what must I do?
Yeah.
Not what can I do?
Yeah.
If you're not, you got to make some money today.
Yep.
You need to circle back and visit these 3 clients or these 3, fill in the blank.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got a system. Even as a pastor, I write probably 3 to 5 hand notes every week. It might be to a friend in pain. It might be to a person that was very generous and gave us a check for something. It might be someone I know struggling. Someone said, "Will you pray for me?" I hate saying yes because I'm either going to lie or forget or both.
Yeah.
So if I say yes, I'm going to take out a little piece of stock card, prayed for you this morning, meaning right now, thought about this verse. Maybe that's a cheater's way to do it, but that's the way I do it. So I got that hand touch. I'm ministering to those people. What do I have to do today?
Yeah.
And if I told somebody I was going to pray for them, I better pray for them.
Yeah.